What is going on, everyone? I really don't want to spend too much time in the intro because there's a lot to discuss for AMC stock, and especially going into this new week, everyone needs to know that there are a lot of option contracts for AMC. The short interest has increased over this past week, and there's a lot of brokerages and banks that are now limiting the amount of short positions that specific brokerages and banks can even announce on a stock. For example, AMC stock, Charles Schwab actually just made an announcement saying that they're going to be trying to limit the amount of short interest a specific bank or even their own brokerage can have on AMC stock. These are massive brokerages and these are massive banks and these are massive institutions. And so, also, the option contracts, I know a lot of you guys have a lot of questions about the option contracts. A lot of you guys are wondering how come there's so many options yet the stock is not moving. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys why the options have not been working yet. However, later on, they probably will, in my opinion. And as for the short interest, yes, guys, the short interest is increasing, even though banks and even though brokerages and even though hedge funds are still trying to limit the amount of positions that a bank or a institution or just any hedge fund can take on a specific stock, especially AMC. And so what I first want to talk about is the fact that I'm using technical analysis. And I know this is very controversial because a lot of people are saying that technical analysis is not the best when it comes to analyzing a stock like AMC, which, by the way, guys, has exponentially risen over the past few weeks. And that is why you guys are saying that technical analysis will not work. However, in my opinion, I believe that this stock has consolidated enough so that these technical indicators and so that the computers can accurately compute what is probably going to happen for AMC stock, and so that they also, as an indicator, can demonstrate what the stock is going to do in the future. And so the RSI, right off the bat, I'm going to talk about RSI first, and then we're going to talk into all the fundamentals of AMC stock. Because yes, there's so much news going on with AMC, guys, but as for Monday, which is tomorrow, June 28th, we all need to be prepared for what could possibly happen. And so you guys already know that the futures are already green, guys. The futures are green, meaning that, in my opinion, AMC will probably, right off the bat in the opening, probably go up. And even if it doesn't, right, even if it temporarily goes down in the beginning, I think that it will very quickly end up turning the opposite direction and then end up going positive. And so I'm going to give my exact predictions for tomorrow, June 28th, in just a few seconds. However, as I stated, the futures are green. It seems like the sentiment over this weekend is positive, and that doesn't mean that the sentiment over the actual stock week is going to be positive as well, because there's a lot of times where the weekend will be very positive, whereas the actual week will be negative. But regardless of what the futures are saying, regardless of what the sentiment is for this stock, we know because, a lot of you guys subscribe to the channel, a lot of you guys actually keep up with the technical analysis, and a lot of us have been buying the dip just because we know what the price level is to buy the dip. Last week, last Friday, we were not buying the dip at $55. We were not buying the dip at $54. We were buying the dip at $53 a share, right at that number. Okay, not $53.50, but actually just right at $53. And so the reason why is because last week we identified that AMC is having a major consolidation. And so again, this week I'm going to reiterate what I said last week, except I'm going to emphasize a little bit more things because these are the things that we need to understand. Otherwise, I really don't think any of us will be able to accurately trade AMC and successfully trade AMC. So this week, what I'm looking at is we need to stay above $51 a share. We need to be above $51 a share, and do not worry about the cents, because with AMC stock, and this just goes for any stock, a lot of people psychologically they go for the whole numbers. And if you guys take any example, like a blue chip stock, for example, if there is a support at $500 a share, it might be $500.50 as the actual support level. However, a lot of people they are going to want to probably dip buy at $500 a share and vice versa. So, for example, if there was another stock, let's say it was also trading at around $500, let's say $500 was the resistance, right? But the actual resistance would be $500 and let's say 50 cents, right? People are not going to look at the $500.50 as a resistance. They're going to look at the $500 as a resistance. So again, hopefully this makes sense with the psychological number. Whole numbers, a lot of people like to buy at these numbers or even sell at these numbers, which is why the whole numbers are typically the support and resistance levels. So therefore, again, using that same knowledge and using that same logic, the $51 share would be the support level for AMC stock, in my opinion. And so the reason why is because we have been consolidating in this area for so long. And so also when you have an area where there's so much support, there's definitely a range where there's also resistance. And so for the resistance, guys, I'm looking this week at a break above $60, or actually not a break above $60, but I'm looking for the resistance at exactly $60.50, around that area. But again, as I said, just because it's $60.50, it doesn't mean that a lot of people will say it's $60.50, they're probably going to say it's $60, right? Just the whole number $60. And again, that's just because of the concept and the logic that I was talking about just a few seconds ago. And the volume, guys, a lot of people are saying that the volume is decreasing, and they're absolutely right. And so the good news is that the RSI is also indicating the same exact thing, right? Decreasing in volume. The reason why I'm talking about the RSI and the reason why it's a good thing is because we know that the RSI is not negatively indicating anything. There is instances where there is a bearish divergence in the RSI, and those are not the good indications of the RSI, because what ends up happening in a bearish divergence of the RSI is, let's say that AMC stock continued to increase, right? Let's say we were not consolidating. Let's say AMC was increasing from here all the way to here, right? Let's say $2 all the way to $20. Well, sometimes the RSI can actually say that it is going up, and then what it's going to end up doing is, even though AMC stock is increasing, the RSI is actually going to indicate that the strength is decreasing. And so basically, a bearish divergence on the RSI is simply when the stock is increasing in share price, however, the RSI, or the relative strength index, is decreasing as an indicator. And that is a very bearish indicator on the RSI. And not a lot of people understand that a stock and the RSI can be in completely different territories. And so the reason why I say that the RSI going down is a good thing for AMC stock is because we know that the momentum and the strength on the actual share price and on the RSI indicator is consistent with each other, okay? So we want consistency. We do not want one indicator being positive whereas the other indicator being negative, okay? So very good on the RSI. And as for the stochastic RSI, the reason why $51 is probably going to be a very resilient support level is because the stochastic RSI is indicating that we are in a bottom. And the reason why is because every time it goes to this level, it usually follows with a massive rebound to the upside. However, the MACD is the only bearish indicator, and in my previous videos, I talked about how I predicted that the MACD, in my opinion, and remember, I'm not a financial advisor, but I just thought that the MACD would end up crossing right to the downside. But I did also say that what I think is, because there is so much momentum on AMC stock, that I believe that the crossing of the RSI will be very temporary. And so because it will be temporary, I believe that it will have another crossing, except this time to the upside, and therefore there will be no more red, but instead we will flip all the way back to green. And again, this is just what I'm expecting for AMC stock, and just because that there is a crossing in the MACD in the downside does not mean that this will be permanent, guys. There are so many other stocks. If you look at the 1 year, 1 day chart, if you look at a longer time frame, there are so many stocks, like for example AMD, right, the chip stock. That MACD is exponentially high, and it looks like it is about to crash all the way to the downside just because of the MACD. However, the stock just keeps increasing in share price. So again, just because there's a MACD with a temporary crossing does not mean that it will be permanent or forever. And also, before I talk about the options and before I talk about the volume for AMC, the $1 million bet, I also want to talk about the fact that there is actually a pattern on AMC stock. And this pattern is one of the most bullish patterns and one of the most bullish chart patterns. And that is because it looks like we will be breaking out very soon of this flag, right? The bull flag. And so this flag may take a little while until it is actually broken out. However, it looks like it will be broken out in the middle of July. That also answers the question, why are the call options, why are the put options not working for AMC stock? And so the first thing I want to say is, just because people have put options on a stock does not mean that it is automatically bearish, right? It does not automatically mean that a person is betting that the stock is going to go down, because you could sell a put. And so when you sell a put option, that actually means that you are bullish, okay? So I just want to throw that out there. So not all put options are bad. So when you see a lot of put options, let's say in volume, just because there are, let's say, 1 million put options does not mean that that is a bad thing at all. And so, as I said before, as for the call options, again, guys, we just need that volume. And so that volume will start flowing back in as soon as we end up going to those major support levels, because no one wants to buy AMC at $52 a share. And when I mean a lot of people, I mean the majority of people, guys. There was a lot of people that were in AMC stock right over here around the beginning of June. However, a lot of people that were in AMC stock in the beginning of June, as we could see from the volume, they were not actual believers of AMC stock. They were simply day traders. However, now it looks like we actually have a solid foundation of the AMC stock believers and of the AMC stock group. Therefore, now that we know that we have one solid foundation, all we need is we just need the day traders to understand that AMC stock will be rebounding from a major technical level, and therefore, once we go to that technical level, which is the $51 a share level, I believe that there will be a lot more bullish options, there will be a lot more bullish volume, and a lot more bullish momentum going back into the stock, and then it's just going to take time, and it is just inevitable for the stock to break out, and it will probably break out in the middle of July, just because that will probably be either when the stock exponentially breaks out or exponentially breaks down. Because don't get me wrong, guys, the flag, just because it's a bullish flag, does not mean that it'll always go up to the upside. Although a lot of people do understand that bullish flags typically mean that the stock is going to go up, there could be in the middle of July, let's say, talks about inflation again, and there could be so much negative sentiment just across the entire stock market that this stock could actually end up breaking down. However, I do not think that's going to happen, because if I did believe that there would be a lot of negative sentiment surrounding the entire stock market in July, I would not have bought AMC stock at $53 a share. However, I did end up buying AMC at $53 a share, and I will continue to increase my position, especially if we go to that $51 level, okay? Because I am, as I said, really looking for that breakout. I really don't care what ends up going on in this flag. I just want to see that breakout of the flag so that all of our price targets, I'm talking about the $100, I'm talking about $250, I'm talking about $500, $450, and even $1,000 a share. All those price targets will finally start making a lot more sense. And for the AMC options, guys, for the volume for the $1 million bet, we do see that AMC has had a volume increase of 55,000 shares. This could be of option contracts or this could be of shares. I'm pretty sure it's about option contracts. So as you all know, one option is equal to 100 shares. So that is phenomenally good for AMC stock. And the volume on this stock is there are 4.5 million contracts. So I know I said the $1 million bet on AMC stock, but honestly, I should have said the $4.5 million bet for AMC stock. There are so many times when the AMC stock volume has been high, and so many times when the AMC stock option contract has been high, right? A lot of people know that AMC stock has had a lot of volume. However, as I said, the option contracts will start to finally work as soon as we break out of that flag. Once we start getting closer to the breakout of that flag, I think that all these options will start making a lot more sense, which right now they are not. Right now it is so 50-50, and the people who actually hold these option contracts, they do not know whether to keep their contracts or to sell them. And so it is very 50-50, as I said. However, it will not end up being 50-50 at all once we end up breaking out of that bullish flag. And so I know I keep on repeating the technical pattern, the bullish flag. However, in my opinion, it is really going to drive AMC stock exponentially high or exponentially low. We will just have to see what ends up happening, especially as we know that a lot of hedge funds and a lot of banks and even a lot of institutions and hedge funds, they are trying to minimize the amount of short positions that, let's say, their corporation can actually take. For example, as I said, Charles Schwab is actually now limiting as well the short position that someone from their company can take on AMC stock. As we all know, the AMC stock group was able to move AMC stock from $2 a share all the way to $72 a share, and therefore these banks do not want to end up losing a lot of money like how they did back then. And with that being said, guys, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.